Hi, my name is Mike, and today I'm reviewing the ongoing concepts Handmade. The ongoing concept is a metalcore quartet from Idaho signed to Solid State Records. The premise behind Handmade is that they literally handmade the instruments that they used to record the album. They took the whole do-it-yourself idea and just put it on steroids. Their guitarist, lead singer Dawson Scholes, he performed on the record, he helped create the instruments. I guess living out in Idaho, there's not much to do other than create the instruments that your band's gonna make a record with. So yeah, it's a very ambitious idea, and the music really reflects how ambitious the idea of hand making an album really is. The ongoing concept's first record, Saloon, which I discovered about 6 months ago, has since become one of my favorite albums of all time, spawning such big songs as Cover Girl, like Autumn, the title track Saloon. It's front to back a really great album, and Handmade just takes that sound that they created and pushes it to the limit. It's hard to even call them a metalcore band anymore because they incorporate other genres such as funk, which sounds a little ridiculous to say, hard rock, punk. Like they're honestly straying so far away from metalcore that I wouldn't even call them a metalcore band anymore, which is great, which is good. So yeah, the album opens with the ending of Saloon, the ending of the song Goodbye So Long, and then we hear a tree getting chopped down, which is where Handmade starts, which literally is the tree getting chopped down that they're going to use to make the instruments for this album. And then the album opens with the song Amends. So Amends starts with some nice snapping, and if there's one thing the ongoing concept has done well their entire career as a band is creating very good songs to clap to, which is great, and that's also something that's not included in metal music a lot. You're not usually, like stomp clapping to metal songs, so that's awesome. And then right away we get a taste of horns, which obviously the band didn't hand make, trumpets and stuff, but it's such a great element to the song that it's a great way to start the album. And the song still really holds a punch, when the screams come in. The ongoing concept is as furious as ever with their screams. One of the things that really drew me to the band was how ferocious their vocals are, meaning their screaming vocals. And they do such a great job of jumping back and forth between super aggressive screaming to this just over-the-top, poppy, catchy choruses, and Amends is a perfect example of the ongoing concept as a band. So then right from Amends, we transition into the song Feel, which immediately opens with a completely different feel than any other song they've written, and it's this very punchy, poppy, funky vibe that's just you don't find in metal music. It doesn't exist. It's very, very unique. It's just something that the first time I heard it, I was like, this is fantastic. Feel, I feel like, is one of the biggest highlights on the album. It's one of my favorite tracks. It does a great job of balancing the poppy side of the ongoing concept with the heavy side. It's a really great track. And then from Feel, it transitions into the song Trophy, and then into the song Prisoner, and those songs are just, pretty much straightforward, heavy tracks. One of the songs, the song Prisoner, features almost entirely screams. There's a little bit of singing there, but it's mostly screaming. Very heavy track, very hard-hitting, and it's ironic because that's one of the heaviest songs on the album and transitions into the song Melody, which is probably one of the softest songs that the ongoing concept has ever written. Completely ukulele-driven. Sounds like a song that could have been written by the Lumineers, which I don't really like. It really breaks up the flow of the album. I feel like if I had to pick a worst track on this album, it would be Melody. Just those songs just don't resonate very well with me. From the ongoing concept, the song Sidelines on Saloon is a song that I typically skip, and that's the one ballad-esque song on the record, so this would be the track to compare it to on here. But they get things swinging again with the next track, Unwanted, which is easily one of the best songs on the record. It was the first single released. It's probably the song that I feel resonates best live. It's a great time. It's a great song. And then from there we move to one of the more interesting tracks on the album, Soul. And Soul, I feel, is so interesting because The Ongoing Concept is signed to Solid State Records, a very Christian label, and the song is pretty much about selling your soul to the devil. And that was the first teaser release for the record, and when I first heard it, I was a little surprised because I was like, whoa, this is band's on a Christian label, but it's the Ongoing Concept has come out and said that, you know, it's not like literal, no one's actually selling their soul to the devil. It's a song, but it's a great song nonetheless, and it also harks back to that idea of the stomp clap feel to the song, and it's fantastic. I mean, I have a hard time driving to the song because I want to clap so badly to it. That from Soul we get into the Let Live style track, which clearly is a huge influence to the Ongoing Concept. The song Survivor, which literally sounds like it could have been from Let Live's last record, just pulled right out of it, which is okay. The Ongoing Concept still has more of like a poppy vibe to their choruses, so it's much more sing-songy than Let Live, but still a very similar style. And then the last track on the album, Falling, is called Falling because they're taking a line from Goodbye So Long from Saloon, and they throw a line from that song in there involving falling. And it's cool for fans that have been listening to the Ongoing Concept for a while and recognize that line, and it's cool to be like, hey, I know that line. So it's an interesting way to end the album, and I look forward to the beginning of their next record because I'm sure they'll somehow tie it in like they did this one. Yeah, I feel like the real standout tracks are Feel, Unwanted, and Soul. I think those songs should be played at every show they play from now until the day that they stop existing. They're phenomenal songs, and they're songs I'll continue to listen to for a really, really, really long time. So the highlights for me on this record, which some of the things I've mentioned before, the use of horns on this album, so awesome. I mean, it's just, horns are not used in metal music, and you know, when they are, they're usually going for much more of like this epic film score style music, which, I mean, I guess you could say some of it used on this record, like maybe some of the horns in Amends you could say is like film scorey, but for the most part, it's more like that big band, like ragtime style music, like from Saloon, but instead of like ragtime piano, they're using horns, which is great. It works so well, and I love it. I think it's great. And there's also an extreme variation in songs on this record. We hear a lot of tracks that sound very hard rocky, a lot of tracks that sound very metalcore-y, punky, funky. It's all over the place, but it works very well. You can tell you're still listening to the same band. And all of the aggressive screaming on this record, Kyle Scholes, his vocals are on point. Like I said before, one of the things that drew me to the band was just how ferocious their vocals were. And it really shows in this album again that that style of screaming not from your diaphragm but from your throat, at least what it sounds like from your throat. It just sounds so raw and so brutal, and it's one of the things that I love about the Ongoing Concept. And alongside those screams, there's just a serious grit to this record, probably more than Saloon, where Saloon was a little more produced. The album was produced by guitarist / singer Dawson Scholes, but it doesn't sound as overproduced as the last record. Everything seems a bit more raw. If I had to talk about lowlights for this record, it would probably be the length of the album. It clocks in at a little over a half hour, which is not super long. You know, there's a lot of short tracks on the album. I would have preferred maybe an extra track or two. Bottom line is the Ongoing Concept really strays from the metalcore tropes that haunt every band of the genre. There's no way you can categorize a genre for the Ongoing Concept. They're so musically versatile that they exist as their own. They're their own genre. So yeah, they really push the limits of what metal music is, and I think this could be a very influential album for a lot of young musicians that eventually will get their hands on it, because this is a band that is on the rise and a band that I could absolutely see taking over this planet in a couple years. So I give Handmade a 9 out of 10. So far, it is my favorite album of the year, and pretty much the reason why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, because this is a great album.